Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, we've got it. The Fusion event calendar has finally arrived for the Razelvarg Fusion. In fact, the Dragon Tournament and Champ Training Tournament have started in-game as we speak. But in today's video, I'm going to go through this, break it down. There's definitely a few tricks to this one, for sure. And I'll give you my thoughts on whether it is worth it at the end as well. That's probably the most common question you get for every sort of fusion like this. Is it worth it? Well, let's look at how difficult it's going to be first, and then I'll tell you if I think it's worth it or not when we can sort of we have all the facts before us. If you like these videos, I do these every single fusion, so make sure to, subscribe, give it a thumbs up if you enjoy it. These do tend to be very popular, and I feel like I help people, so I like doing them. And also, stay tuned later today, because the live arena has arrived. The live arena has arrived in game. It's going to be starting in just under 2 hours. And yeah, you guys seem to really enjoy when I played through in the beta and I showed you like my first 5 fights. So let's do it again. We're going to do it again today. Once this goes live, I'm going to jump in. Maybe if you're jumping in when this goes live as well, you can fight me. Who knows? Is that a good thing or a bad thing for you? I'm not the toughest opponent, but I'll put up a good fight. So hey, if you beat me, it's obviously the bragging rights. I beat a content creator, which is always fun. But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll see you there. Maybe I won't. Unlikely. It's a pretty big game, to be honest, so it's unlikely. But let's talk about the Razelvarg fusion. It is a traditional fusion. I had it up on the screen there a second ago. What you need to do is get 4 copies of the epic. You can fuse 16 copies of the rare, four sets of 4 into these epics. You need to level them all up and fuse everything together. One thing to watch out for, it costs about 300,000 silver, I think, to fuse an epic, and it costs 1 million silver to fuse the legendary. So don't get caught out. And obviously there is a time limit on this as well. If you don't fuse them before this ends, it will disappear and you're in trouble. That's it. Doesn't matter if you have 4 of the epics ready to go, you slept in, you missed the fusion, you couldn't fuse them on time. Larium do not care. You are not getting that. They'll just shrug and say, well, you should have done it on time. So be careful, okay? Always be careful with these traditional fusions. Let's look at the calendar. So first of all, let's talk about, I think it's always the right thing to do is to start by talking about the shard events, because shard events are probably the most difficult part of every single fusion, in my opinion. We've got a bunch of different shard events going on here. So we have Summon Rush this weekend with an extra epic up for grabs. Okay, you don't need to get this epic, right? This epic right here, you don't need to get her. There are enough rares to fuse the legendary from this event. This is an extra. The nice thing about it being extra, though, is that you could therefore skip 4 different events if you wanted to. Or you could grab the extra epic and actually just keep a copy of the epic for after the fusion. That's up to you. If you want to know more about this epic, I did do a video over on YST's channel. We did a collab where we checked her out. I think she's a good, solid epic. So it sort of depends how far you are in the game. Like for me personally, I don't care at all about this epic extra. She's really cool, she's really good, but I certainly don't need her. I've smashed Lizardman faction crypts months and months ago. Like, I don't care. But maybe you would want an extra copy of her. I recommend checking out that video to get a bigger insight into what sort of stuff she can do, because she is very solid. But what is very interesting about this, let's talk about the costs that are likely to come into it. So for the Summon Rush, oh, this is very small. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see. Usually, what they've been doing recently is it's usually around 2,150 points in Summon Rush to get the first fusion reward, or the first necessary part of the fusion. In this case, the rare, which is a ton of points for a rare, but hey, it is what it is. They're not going to change it. This is approximately, it's slightly more. It's about 4 sacred shards worth. Okay, it's about 4 sacreds to get this, plus, let's say, 150 green shards. That's not too bad to pull, though, over the course of the weekend. And you can definitely rip through your green shards pretty quickly with this champion training tournament that's going on at the same time. We'll talk about that in a second, because it has already started in-game. Yeah, about 4 sacreds. It's approximately, I think, 17 void shards is the equivalent. In Summon Rush, it's 500 points for a sacred shard, 120 points for a void shard. I think it's 20 for an ancient, 1 for a green. Ancients are really bad for this. I'd really recommend sacreds or voids if you can. The interesting thing about this is that the epic is probably around 4,000 points, which is about 8 sacreds. I think the highest they've ever gone in a fusion like this is 5,000 points for the top reward, for like the epic, as it were, which would be 10 sacreds worth. Why I think this is interesting is that this champion chase tournament is going to be 2x sacred shards. Ooh, that's kind of nasty, right? You've got that overlap where, well, sacred shards are one of the easiest ways to do summon rush, or one of the most convenient, shall we say. But this champion chase is going to be leaning fairly heavily on sacred shards. Um, how much is it going to cost you? Usually, it's probably around 2,500 points, which is approximately 9 sacred shards, right? It's approximately 9 sacreds, which is sort of assuming that you get 8 epics for 250 points each and 1 legendary for 500 points. So 9 sacreds in order to do that. This is the interesting thing. Okay, so we got a couple of things going on here. So trick number 1, potentially you could do the full summon rush, get the extra epic, and skip champion chase entirely, and also skip, 4 other events. Pick your least favorite. Maybe this big champion training event. Skip that. Maybe this dungeon diver event over here. Maybe skip that. It will overlap with CVC. We'll talk about that in a second. You could potentially skip some stuff. So that is something to consider. At the same time, though, bearing in mind one sneaky thing you can do, let me actually put this in another color, right? We've got, actually, we can have Margrave Greenhawk 1 here from these 4 events. We can have another one from these 4. And even during this Champion Chase tournament, you can actually get a third set of 4 as well if you do all of this stuff. You're not going to be able to get the 4th. You're not going to be able to fuse the Legendary unless you get this Delaja right here. But you could potentially fuse 3 copies of Delaja from all of these events circled in green. And I'll remove this now because it's super ugly. Here we go. But you can get 12 copies of the rare by the time you get to the Champion Chase tournament. Actually, I'm telling a slight lie because the Champion Chase tournament is one of them. You can get 8 copies of the rare in order to help complete this Champion Chase tournament. And that could be potentially something you could do. That's an extra 2 epics you can fuse to try to get to this, which is an extra 500 points, right? So 500 points for free saves you potentially 2 sacred shards, which is a pretty big deal. So I would definitely, if you're going to do the Champion Chase, wait to fuse the epics until you get there. And then if you're going to go for the legendary book, which is probably going to be kind of worth it for 3,000 points maybe, there's often one there. You could fuse up another epic, maybe pull an extra few shards to try to get that legendary skill tome. So that's something that you can do. In fact, arguably, you possibly could, right? The Spider Tournament and the Classic Arena, they do start early, so maybe you could fuse all 3 to try to get this Champion Chase. That'd be 750 points. We put that stuff together. What would I recommend? So let's say our discount, right? And let's put this in green. So 750 free epics, which gives us never do Matt's live on thing remaining, which would be that is it's about 6 sacreds. Okay, 6 sacreds. Yeah, there's a lot of sort of technical stuff happening here. Let me make this a little bit smaller so that we can see it. Looks like I spelled sacreds. Sacreteds. Sacreteds. There we go. A little bit better. So this is something that you can do, which I think is interesting, right? Let's move this to green so you can see it. Lovely, beautiful green. Nice, relaxing green tone. So yeah, if you fuse up 3 epics, that's 750 points. There's 1750 remaining, which is approximately 6 sacreds worth. Actually, that's approximately... Yeah, it depends if you get lucky and you pull a legendary. It's technically actually 7 sacreds, isn't it? But if you hit a legendary, it makes it easier. If you've got any fragments saved up, it makes it easier. So yeah, I realize I've been talking a long time about this particular thing, but there's a lot of technical stuff going on here. I would say the easiest way, if you have, like me, a lot of sacreds saved up, if you've been lucky. I've been so lucky with Clan Boss in the last week, it's unbelievable. Plus, I had Doom Tower hard sacreds. I had the Tag Arena sacred coming through, etc. If you have 8 sacreds or 10 sacreds saved up, arguably getting the epic and summon rush is going to be the easiest thing, and skip Champion Chase. Even though you're getting some points for free, maybe just skip it. It's going to cost you the least amount of shards to get this fusion. That's the cheapest way to do it, but it does require you to have a whole bunch of sacreds saved up right now. If you don't have a whole bunch of shards saved up and you're not going to max out this summon rush, which is potentially could be as much as 5,000 points, realistically. Doing the minimum to get this rare from over here in the Summon Rush, saving up all of these rares and fusing 3 of the epics. You have to still get together a lot of sacreds to do it, or a lot of fragments, login, legendaries, anything like that. You can do some of the permanent fusions in the game, right? You're going to have to pull out some stops here to get this done, but you could potentially get it done, but it's going to be fairly intensive in terms of your shards. You could, for example, use void shards during Summon Rush and save your sacreds for the 2x sacreds events over here if you are short on sacreds. Yeah, a bunch of stuff to consider right there. A lot of stuff to consider. Okay, let's move on a bit more quickly. Let's talk about stuff happening today. So champion training has started on Dragon. Now, my recommendation, fairly straightforward, is to actually start off with champion training today, then switch into Dragon once Dungeon Divers starts. There's no point, in my opinion, really, in doing Dragon until you've got that done, right? So getting that done. Then after this is going to be fairly intensive at the start. Then I'd probably try to blitz through Dragon if you can in like a day, right? Try to get it done quickly, then do a little bit more champ training, and then come over to Ice Golem. And we're basically trying to sync all of this up right here, like right here, right here, right there, and then down to here. We're basically trying to sync everything up so that we can get we're going to do a bunch of Dragon. Let me remove these lines. I think that's actually making it less clear. The point is, we're going to use Dragon with Super Raids to get Dungeon Divers done pretty quick, and then we can finish it off with Ice Golem once it starts. The thing to watch out for, right? The thing to watch out for is you will have to finish Champion Training by here. You'll have time still to do Ice Golem, so I would definitely be trying to get all of Dragon done within this Dungeon Divers to get as much Dungeon Divers 1 done as possible early so that you're not stressed about squeezing in Ice Golem and finishing Champ Training at the same time. This is a fairly intensive squeeze of energy. However, we do have some free gifts and stuff happening at the moment. So I saw for example, we got the first milestone from this video thing that they're doing. So there's a bunch of multi-battle attempts and energy to help you with that. I would grab those and I would save these until you need them. Until that Dungeon Diver starts, I would be saving those, right? And yeah, that's what I would do. So save those for tomorrow, throw them into Dragon Tournament once Dungeon Divers begins, and then you're good to go, right? And champion training at the same time. If we take a quick look here at the points that you require, Dragon, I'm pretty sure is pretty straightforward. Yeah, you need the 2,250. It's not too bad. Honestly, Dragon is quite easy. And with Super Raids, you'll be able to get there fairly quick. I can actually see some people are doing it already. I wouldn't recommend that. I would be doing the champion training right now, where you need 5,150 points. You can use skill tomes to do this. If you're not into CVC, you don't save them for CVC. Yeah, I think these guys are the better idea. Getting this done today. I've got 0 points, but I'm going to go do it shortly once I'm done with the video. Yeah, it's my recommendation. Then we've Ice Golem. Yeah, basically you've got Ice Golem, so do a bit here with Dungeon Divers. But look, you've got like this chunk here where there's nothing much else happening, so you have like this whole time to do Ice Golem. You can just use it as a bit of an efficient way to do the Dungeon Divers if you need to. Of course, you're going to get a good bit of Dungeon Divers happening just by doing champ training as well. So it's up to you, but look for those overlaps. It's going to be a pretty big deal. In terms of your energy then, again, fairly intensive here. We've got Fire Knight overlapping with Dungeon Divers, but it's also overlapping a champion training event. So that does get a little bit tricky. What I'd basically be doing right here, we also have Spider Tournament, but this is a bit deceptive. I can almost guarantee that this Spider Tournament is going to begin after this Dungeon Divers ends. So what I'd be doing right here is I'd be doing Fire Knight straight away, just blitz the Fire Knight to try get Dungeon Divers done. I think that's going to be fairly intensive. And then basically move into the champion training once you're done with Fire Knight, okay? And then try to get this done. This is going to be, I think, a tough one. Look how long this event is. The way that Plarium usually designs this is they have like points per day is how they like to do it. Very long event likely means very high points to get this rare. So really, really be careful. One tip I could give you, remember we were talking about fusing up our epics during this champion chase tournament. So leveling up all these rares, do you have to upgrade the rares? I've forgotten actually with the fusion. Yeah, to get them to 4-star, level 40. So, getting these rares from level 30, 3-star, up to 4-star, and then leveling them up from 4-star to level 40, ascending them, fusing them up, then even having food saved up and leveling up the epics, getting them up to level 50, right, and ascended, is going to help you to get through this champion training event, right? So Don't be leveling up these rares or anything in this champion training tournament, and try to build up food, build up 4-star food, build up 3-star food, so you can sort of power level all the fusion champions during this champion training event and get it done as effectively as possible, because I think it is going to be tough. I actually put a warning right here. I think that's going to be quite tough. It kind of looks like a bunny in some way. The two, supposed to be 2 exclamation marks. I unintentionally drew Razelvarg. My bad. Oh well. So I'd watch out for that. After that, we do have a spider tournament kicking in, which is not overlapping with too much. I'd basically be doing the spider tournament once this ends, and you can blitz through spider very quickly with dungeon divers, finish off the dungeon divers, and there we go. Let me put in a couple other bits. So we've got very straightforward classic arena. Nothing much really happening in classic arena. Just do your classic arena. So long as you're not in like bronze, it should be pretty straightforward. You might need to buy a couple of refills if you're in silver, or you might need to be refreshing and looking for battles. You might need a good few, but you can basically see, am I, in the first day, it's up for like what, 3 days, 2 days? If it's up for 2 days or 3 days, you'll see it in game how long it's up for. Am I getting like 30% of the points per day? Okay, then I'm a little bit low. If I'm getting 50% of the points per day and it's 3 days long, I'm ahead of schedule. I'm all good, right? Simple enough. We have artifact enhancement. These should also be pretty easy. So one thing I'll say, Live Arena goes live today. Try, unlike me, I've fallen victim to spending my silver. Try to save your silver to upgrade champions for Live Arena a few days in when artifact enhancement starts. You're going to make life much easier. We have another one here and a third one over here. We've got a lot of artifact enhancement. So really be saving your silver for all of these events would be my strong recommendation. Save up and then upgrade your Live Arena champions on Saturday, right? Good news is, at least this artifact enhancement one, it's reasonably energy intensive. You're going to be getting a good bit of silver from farming campaign and dragon and ice golems. That will help a bit. This one over here, a little bit of silver from Fire Knight and champ training, but you're probably going to be using brews and stuff for this champ training to get it done. I would imagine power leveling champs. So this one's going to be a bit tougher, this artifact enhancement too. This third one does come after Spider, and Spider gives a ton of silver. So this one's a bit more doable. And of course, then we have a big thing over here, which is CVC. Let me actually put it in like a more visible color. Let me make it a bit bigger. So this is likely to be CVC. Is that more visible or less? CVC, and it could be personal rewards. Okay, question mark, exclamation mark. Everything just looks like a rabbit now. Why does everything look, it doesn't even look like a rabbit, but it does. Yeah, the CVC we just had, that's just over, was not personal rewards. There's a CVC every 2 weeks, so it's like 99.9% sure this will be CVC. I think it's highly likely it is personal rewards, so you're actually going to have a bit of Spider overlapping here with CVC. You're going to have artifact enhancement overlapping with CVC, dungeon divers overlapping with all of CVC. So I personally think it's pretty likely it's going to be personal rewards. That's something to bear in mind if you care about clan versus clan. And that makes it quite easy then to really go mad with Spider here at the end while it's during CVC to really maximize those points. And yeah, that's something to look out for. So there you go, guys. Look, that is, I think, the plan for the... Have we touched everything? Yeah, we've touched on everything. We are all good. Like I said, I think it's fairly a bit energy intensive here at the start. That could be a little bit... Actually, let me change the color so it's easier to see. It could be a little bit energy intensive here at the start. You know what? I've changed my mind. I can't. I'm all over the place today. We're going orange. Energy intensive here at the start. There we go. I'm not saying it a fifth time. I will spare you. So watch out for that. And just min-max. The dungeon divers is really the thing to watch out for, in my opinion. Dungeon divers is the tough part right there. That's what I'd be worried about. Energy intensive here in the middle. With this champion training event, this is definitely what I'd be worried about. This champion training event looks quite nasty. There's a lot of tricks going on with the summon rush and the champion chase. Let me know in the comments below what you are planning to do. For me personally, I'll have to think about it because it's really not that much of a deal for me to do these other events. I'm probably going to do them anyway. So I don't know. I'm very tempted to do the full summon rush. I'll be honest. I'm quite tempted to do that. Just to make life easier for me, but I'm not really sure what I would skip. Like for me, I'm probably going to do everything anyway. It's a content creator, so I don't know. What 4 events would you skip if you got the extra Dalaja? The advantage of grabbing her is that it's likely to cost you less shards overall. It's likely to be kind of easier on the shards. So yeah, I'll have to think about it myself to make my full decision. But Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure. Um, and yeah, look, that's what to watch out for. And then CVC coming in at the end might make things a bit. Yeah, it depends how hardcore you are about CVC. But if you're going hardcore for CVC, overlapping stuff there is going to help. You could, of course, as well, if you save up your silver and you go really hard with Spider here, you could fuse the legendary during CVC. You can get Razelvarg during the next CVC, which is a bunch of points, which again makes it, I think, more likely it's gonna be personal rewards because you can finish the fusion. Whoop, right there. You can be done. Every event is done if you've got the silver saved up to blitz this artifact enhancement right here. So yeah, guys, look, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Interested to hear your comments on this one. Actually, I meant to say, do I think he is worth it? In my opinion, actually, yes, I do think he's worth it. I think that the schedule here, the summoning events are kind of nasty, but other than that, it doesn't look too bad as far as fusions go. Obviously, it depends. Like, I think a big one is how many points they make champion training, how many points they make dungeon divers events. Those things we just don't know, and they're like the arguably the biggest contributing factors to what makes a fusion hard. And of course, the point requirements for summoning events. But like the point thresholds that they set, we don't know that. And that can often dictate how difficult something is. But in terms of the layout, it's not too bad. It's a bit technical, but it's not too bad. I think he's actually a really solid champion. I definitely think he's worth going for. And I'll just throw this out there. It's something that I've observed in the community, I think recently, especially, it's something that's always there, but it's been very strong recently with Oella, with Supreme Elhain, is that you actually have really, really solid fusions that could be fantastic and likely are fantastic for a lot of people. I've got a crazy Oella video coming out in the next, probably on Saturday, depends, maybe tomorrow. It depends, on how busy I am doing live arena videos and fusion videos, that sort of thing, and shard pulls. But I've got a crazy Oella video coming out. I'm probably going to use Supreme Elhain in live arena today, most likely. I think people have been really down on these fusions, really negative, really pessimistic. And I just worry that that leads people to skip and to miss out on champions that could actually be quite beneficial. So yeah, check out the Razelvarg videos. I think he's a great champ for Hydra. Yeah, like I said, I don't think he's as good as Nekmothar, but he's pretty cool. The unique thing is definitely that increased accuracy and if you can make the use out of it. But he's like a utility champ. I like him in a provoke set in Hydra. And yeah, he does really good damage, like solid damage, not crazy, but solid damage. He takes a crazy amount of turns because of his passive. He's so fast. He can churn out provokes. He can combo well with like Michinaki, with Rhonda, any champs like that. And bringing the increased accuracy is pretty nice. It might be an important thing for further difficulties of Hydra. You might need to be running increased accuracy in higher difficulties of Hydra, and then he actually becomes quite valuable, right? Instead of bringing in Nekmo, like, he might bring in like Razelvarg and Krisk or something like that. That's a high-end team, right? You get the idea. But for Ultra Nightmare Hydra, that's the sort of thing you might be looking at. Live Arena gift. Yo, that's pretty cool. Thanks for taking... Oh, wait. Is this for doing the... Oh, thank you for taking part in the Live Arena beta test. Okay. Well, that's nice of them. I mean, I guess I spent a bunch of gems during the beta test, and my progress has been reset. That's cool. But, yeah. Great. I didn't need that gift, to be honest. Being part of the beta was gift enough for me. Sorry to rub salt in your wounds if you weren't in the beta. But yeah, Live Arena is here for everyone today. That's the Razelvarg Fusion calendar. Thank you for watching. This video was super long. I'm sorry. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.